Welcome to a brand new and original podcast with me, Aoife Birmingham, and my co-host April Drew. We are going to take you on a weekly journey through our personal and professional travelling history with some travel tips, hacks and crack along the way. So welcome to 2 gas tickets to anywhere.
Hello from the North Pole. This week's episode is going to be all about Lapland. I'm going to share my tips on doing it DIY, and April is going to share her tips on her experiences doing it as a package. So be sure to tune in because this is the episode you do not want to miss if you ever want to come to Lapland.
So yes, we're back with episode 4, and this is a really exciting one for both of us. Now, Aoife, you're just back from an amazing trip to Lapland, and we are going to discuss that in detail soon. But
Deep
before
dive.
But before we begin, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you remember at the end of episode 3, we were chatting about our word for 2026?
Yes.
And you could not remember your word for
Still
2026. Oh, Aoife, come on.
I remember it. I did. My friend pinned it to the top of the group, so I made sure to come prepared today with the word.
Right, go on. Tell
so
us.
You know, when it's like New Year, you say Happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Yes.
So my word for 2026 is prosperity, but not just like financially. It's when I think of
financially is good.
prosperity. Financially is good. Yeah. But I was really thinking about it in the terms of the health.
Yes.
Or the health side of like my family and friends and all that, because we had a lot of friends who had health issues this year, and now I want prosperity in health, life, career, financial, friendships, in all aspects of my life. I want to be prosperous, so that is my word for 2026.
I love it.
Yes.
Now, don't forget it.
I won't forget it. No, I won't. No, I can't.
Okay, brilliant. So listen, let's get into episode 4. You're just back from 10 days in Lapland, the real Lapland. And this is your second visit, which is great. And I have done 2 similar. Well, I've been to Lapland once, but only for about 6 hours. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I've also visited and done a day trip to Lapland, UK, which I'll explain, but that was amazing as well.
Yes.
So do you want to go first or will I go first?
So I think, right, you're going to talk about the package experience of going to
Correct.
Lapland, and there's different options, as we know. Who knew you could go for a day? So you can go for a day, 2 days, 3 days, and there with your package deals like Sunway and places like that. So why don't you tell us about that first?
Yeah, perfect.
And I want to hear all about Lapland UK.
Yeah, I might start with Lapland UK because
Yeah.
it's a different offering
It is.
to the actual Lapland.
Not many people know about it.
Exactly.
So tell us.
So for those watching and listening, Lapland UK was created, I think over 20 years ago in Ascot in London. And it is basically the most amazing experience outside of the real Lapland. Nothing compares to it in Ireland. There's just absolutely nothing that comes close. And it is really this like adventure through Lapland in the UK, but it is about 4 to 5 hours long. And people sitting back, well, how do you sell it to your, the kids? And, are they going to be confused? But they do it really smartly. You arrive in the UK and you go through the post office, you go through the bits, and then these doors open and they open out into snow. You travel through a portal through
In the airport?
The portal. No, in
Sorry.
Ascot. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, the airport. No.
The airport, this is really set up.
No,
Sorry.
yeah. So
Okay.
you buy the tickets, you get to Ascot, you have your time slot. I think ours was early in the morning, like 10:30 in the morning. And you go in, you check in, you're waiting outside, and there's elves and huts and stuff, but they're telling you that you're going to be traveling through a portal to Lapland, and that was the beauty of it.
Oh,
So
I get you. Okay.
it's fun, and it's preparing you for the adventure ahead. And then the doors open after about 45 minutes. You're going through a few bits and pieces. The doors open, and you're in through the sport, and it's snowing, and it's in the trees and the woods. So it's basically in a forest in Ascot. So you go through the forest. It's snowing. I mean, it's fake snow, obviously, but it is amazing.
Yeah.
And then you arrive out into Lapland, and you have all these different, like you've the Mrs. Claus and her experience, and you're 20 minutes in there making cookies with her, and there's shows and there's ice skating, and now there is no sledding and tobogganing and all that kind of stuff, but it is so magical. It is absolutely, I have to say, I preferred it as much as going to the real Lapland. Now, taking into account I went to Lapland for 6 hours, and I'll explain that in a second. But we absolutely loved it. Now, we only took the smallies. My daughter is actually here in studio, Sadie, who is now 13. We only brought the smallies. We didn't bring the teenagers. And At the time, Arden was 7 and Riley was 2, and it was just
Magic.
absolutely magic. Great bang. When I say great bang for your buck, it is quite expensive. It
Okay.
cost, I think, 680 for 4 tickets. So that's what
Is that just for Lapland, UK?
just for the experience.
Flights on top of that. Now, where do you fly
Correct.
to Liverpool?
No. It's in Ascot and London. Now they do have
London.
a second London.
Sorry,
They do. So
okay.
you've plenty of airports.
Yeah.
Heathrow's quite close. We ended up going to Stansted because we made a weekend of it. So we wanted to stay in the city. We wanted to do stuff. So I think Heathrow's the closest airport. We didn't do that. We hired a car and we stayed out near the airport. Went into the city for the day. So we kind of made it a whole experience. But the tickets themselves are pricey. But I have to say, it is worth it. Like I've paid 60, 70, 80 for Elftown over the years, different things. And of course it's more affordable and it's brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Elftown's great. There's some fantastic places in
But it's
Ireland.
not
But
Lapland.
this was just on another
It's
level.
a full day out.
It's a foot. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's an
And you
experience.
are literally brought on that experience, as you were saying, going through the portal of you're in Lapland now.
Yeah. I just love when the doors
But
open.
it seems
was
to be a
snowing.
lot cheaper than going on a day trip
Correct.
to actual
Absolutely,
Lapland.
yeah.
And less time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And less time.
And I
But-
know, sorry, that they have a Instagram page, Lapland UK. If you just look it up, I know. So if anybody wants to see videos, they could there. But it sells out like.
Yes, and that was my next
Doesn't
thing.
it? You told- sorry, you
they
told me about
have,
that.
they do. They have, and it does sell out very quickly. They have opened a second one in Manchester. So last year was their November, December gone was their very first one at Lapland UK in Manchester opened, and that didn't sell out straight away because it was new. So there is a little bit more options for tickets. However, it's becoming very popular. We bought it in March. I think it was the 16th of March. It opened 2 years ago before we went, and literally I was 35,000 in the queue or something, just like getting tickets for Taylor Swift. I was 3 hours, but I managed to get the tickets. So you have to be ready to pounce on the day. Now, in saying all that, tickets have come up. You know, we wanted to go a specific date with friends, so we were very locked in on our dates. But you can hold tough, and you might actually get a date midweek, or you might get a date, late in the evening or something like that. So it's worth it. But look, that's Lapland UK. It is absolutely magical. You can check out my highlights on Instagram on my Getaways with Kids page. It is spectacular. But the real Lapland.
Okay, let's
So-
dive into the day trip. Let's
the day
start.
trip, and very different from
Yeah.
what you did. So I actually went on a press trip. So full disclosure, I didn't pay for it, but Canterbury Travel invited me over for the day. Now, when I did see a day, I was like, really? Because it's nearly a 4-hour flight. And I was thinking, how are we going to do this in a day? But we did. So it was myself, and it was Sadie, Colum, and my now 9-year-old, who would have been 6 at the time, Arden. We didn't bring Riley because he was 1, and I was advised to leave a little fella at home because you can't have a stroller. It doesn't work with the real smallies. So, and I was concerned that it was just going to be me and the 3 kids. So I had to drive to Dublin. We did stay overnight. Our flight was really early in the morning. It was the time of the crazy ice. So they had to
Yes,
de-ice the
yeah.
plane. So we were actually an hour and a bit late taking off. So you can imagine the panic, thinking, oh my gosh, that's going to really, really, shorten our time there on the ground. But when we arrived in, like the magic begins. In fact, I wrote a whole article on it, and I'm just going to read you the first paragraph. I'm standing here in the middle of Lapland, or what we describe as Lapland to the kids for the day that's in it. It is dark, but extremely bright at the same time. There is snow all around us. It is beyond freezing. It's minus 28 degrees, but it's the most beautiful place on earth I've ever been, hence the tears. This evokes all kind of emotions, and yes, I was forewarned, but until you experience it firsthand, it is just impossible to know what it feels like. To my right are the reindeer. To the left are people queuing for sleigh rides, and it just goes on like that.
Yeah.
And it took my breath away, and I had a few moments of teary
I
moments
know.
through the day,
I
and it's
feel
really
that
hard
too,
to describe
yeah.
it. But literally, we arrived. Canterbury Travel have their own sort of set up there. They kind of create a fake village, I suppose. 25 minutes from the airport. When we got in, we had a sleigh ride to the village, so that was magical in itself. And you got to the airport, they gave you the gear, you suited and booted for the weather. Off on the sleigh ride, pitch dark, but you're going through the forest in the snow, so it was beautiful. And you arrive at the village, and you're left to your own devices, which can be a good thing because
Okay.
we didn't want to do everything necessarily. Like there was
That's good that you are. I thought you'd be going around with these like flags and following everyone for the day.
And because it was the day, I'd say that was the reason. Now, to be fair, you had to, when you arrived, you had to go up to the Santa Hut and book your time. So by the time we got to the hut, our slot was maybe an hour before we were due to depart. But we spent the rest of the day. We had food that's included in your package and all of that. Everything's included in your package. But we had some food. We went on husky rides. They did tobogganing. Like we just really made use of it, and it was absolutely fabulous altogether. And then we were back on a bus back to the airport. But I genuinely thought this is going to be really hard in 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
But it was plenty of time for that one day. You know, it was.
Yeah.
We were tired. We were exhausted by the end of it. So it was perfect. Now, if you were to do this, I checked up the prices just before we were recording this. Canterbury and Sunway in Ireland, and I have to give Sunway a big shout out. They do similar trips. Now, they don't do the day trip, but they do 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. Canterbury still do day trips from Dublin, and an adult is 810 for the day and a child is 730. Now I looked at this year 2026 prices. 2 days is coming in around 1600, and 3 days is coming in around the $2,000. Now they vary according to your dates, according to which travel agency you're going with. I do know Sunway require a €300 deposit now, and then they can create payment plans over time. But that was it. I did it. Because I've done the day trip and I've experienced it, I don't know until I started watching your stories, would I go back again? Even though Riley never got to experience it. He's only 4 now. So I do feel like, it would be nice to bring him back. But the day trip, I feel I did it. I loved it. It was magical. But because I've done the day trip, I don't know what I pay the money to do a 3-day package, which is $2,000 each. So, for 6 of us, that's a hell of a lot of money.
Yes.
So that's my experience. I have to say Lapland UK, which is a more affordable option. You get more bang for your buck in terms of the time and duration and other things you can do in between, like visiting London and stuff. I probably preferred that out of the 2 experiences, but they were both absolutely amazing.
Good introspective.
But
about that there.
But you did 10
So
days.
I've done both my. This was my second time to Lapland, and both my trips have been long trips.
Yeah.
Because when I imagined going, I had an idea in my head of what I imagined Lapland to be.
Right.
And I just didn't like the idea, for me personally, going on a package holiday and being on other people's time and having to go around with 50 people in a group and that kind of stuff. It's just not me. So when I was thinking of Lapland, I was thinking like cabin in the woods. Yeah. Kids playing in the snow, going off and doing the husky rides, the sleigh rides on the reindeers and there's tobogganing and all that. So I wanted to do longer trips. So we did 7 days the first time we went, and we did 9 days this time because we were like, just didn't have enough time the last time. I've written some notes here because my whole thing is, after being to Lapland twice now on DIY trips, I think Lapland is marketed the wrong way in Ireland.
Oh.
Because it's marketed as a Santa experience.
Correct.
Everybody thinks Lapland, you must go in December. You can only go in December, and you have to pay mad money to go and all that. And absolutely not. Lapland is a winter destination, a winter paradise destination, a winter sports destination. I think that's the way to look at it. Santa lives there that's his home. He lives there 365 days of the year. The only time he's not there is on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, when he's flying around the world giving all the presents to the kids. So the way we looked at it, and it was Gillian Harvey that told me this. I was like, I said to her, "So why would you go in January?" Years ago, why would you be going in January?
Which is a lot of people's
and I get that from
opinions.
people all the time.
Yes,
and Gillian's like, "No, it's quieter, it's cheaper to go there, and it's a great way to say thank you to Santa Claus."
Yes. Yeah.
So I was like, bang, wow, that is amazing. That light bulb moment changed in my head.
Yeah.
I went home to Bob, I was like, "We're going to Lapland, January 2024. He's like, "What do you mean January? Who goes to Lapland in January?" I'm like, "We do." And I'm like, loads of people. We're starting a trend here. So we went for a week the first time, and we rented a little cabin in the woods right outside Rovaniemi. It's a 4-minute drive, called Unisvara. And it is the most magical place on earth, in my opinion, when you think of a winter destination.
Really?
It was exactly what I imagined Lapland to be like. I love Santa Claus Village in Rovaniemi. It's great, but it's very bright. It's over commercialized, and there's a lot of things going on there. But it's a lovely base. I like to go there and I like to leave.
Yes.
Rovaniemi town centre. I've only ever gone in there for dinner. It's not what you imagine Rovaniemi,
No.
like a Lapland town, to look like. It's a bit grim.
Commercial, right.
It's a bit
Is it
grim and
expensive?
bright. So Lapland.
No, as in the Rovaniemi
Like,
restaurants.
okay, I would say if you're in a restaurant, it's about €3 or €4 more expensive for a dish than it would be in Ireland. So say something's €10
so it
in
is,
Ireland, like kids' menu is €10 in Ireland, it's probably €14
Okay, yeah.
in Lapland.
Yeah.
If your main course is €22 over here, it's probably going to be like 26, 27
Right,
euros. So
okay.
couple of questions that I had from people was, did you prefer Levy or Rovaniemi? Because what we did this time is we went to Levy. We did a triple destination.
Okay.
So I'll get into that question first, but I'm going to talk. Other people asked me to talk about my itinerary, and then another person asked me last night, not Levy or Rovaniemi, did they say, did you prefer Levy or Unisvara?
Oh.
And I was like, that's the question that you need to ask me.
I've never heard of Unisvara.
Unisvara is
where you
just the
stayed.
ski area of Rovaniemi.
Okay.
It's
So- and
like
it's only
it's
4
like
minutes
staying
out.
in Clontarf. It's like going to Clontarf and staying in
Oh,
Dublin.
wow. So it's so
right?
close.
So it's literally like just a suburb, if you want to
Oh,
call it.
right, okay.
But it is so magical. It's all the cabins in the woods. There's a place there called the Winter Trails, and it's just acres and acres and acres of all these really lovely, well-lit trails that you can walk all night. People in Finland go out walking all the time. Like we'll be in the cabin, the people out walking at like 10 o'clock at night and walking their dogs and their kids and tourists and all that. So it's what you imagine Lapland. And that is the question that I needed to be asked. Because do I prefer Levy or Rovaniemi?
They're similar. Offerings.
Not similar, but like I prefer the area of Rovaniemi, like the Unisvara area of Rovaniemi, to stay in.
Yes.
But I think there's more to do in Rovaniemi. So if you were a first timer going there, I think it's a good place to go. It's
Okay.
direct flights from Ireland. Levy is a 2-hour drive once you stop,
Okay.
once you land in
Yes.
Rovaniemi. Okay, so what we did for our itinerary this time was another Gillian Harvey, she's getting loads of mentions today, trip that she did years ago. So we flew Dublin to Helsinki. We spent the day in Helsinki, which was amazing. And then we hopped on the Santa Claus Express overnight train, 12 hours long, up to Lapland. It goes from Helsinki to Rovaniemi. Oh my God, that was the highlight of my trip. It was
Really?
just, now the train is basic, you
Yeah,
know.
it's
But it was
not
the
called the Santa.
experience.
You've labelled it that, right? That
No,
it's-
they call it the Santa Express and
Oh.
Santa's on the outside.
Oh, really?
That's
I didn't
that's
know
a
that.
Santa as it is.
Okay.
But the train ride is called the Santa Express and Santa's on it. And there's cabins, ensuite cabins and all like that on the train. So we had 2 ensuite cabins. So I stayed in one cabin with 2 of the kids, and Bobby stayed in a cabin right next door to us with another. And we were 12 hours on the train. But as you wake up in the morning time, you're in Lapland and you're going through Lapland for the last 3 hours in the daylight as the light changes. Oh, it was just absolutely magical. So we got off the train in Rovaniemi. We picked up our car hire from Insider Car Hire, who were absolutely amazing. They meet and greet you at the train station or the airport, wherever you come in. They explain to you about driving in Finland, which is another question I've been asked multiple times, is what's it like driving over there?
Yes.
Get into that later. And then we did a 2-hour drive up to Levy. And we actually stopped in Santa Claus Village before we left, and we sent postcards to ourselves to see who would race each other home, the postcard or us, because we were going to be home 8 days later. And then we did the drive up to Levy. And what we did in Levy was we did 4 nights up there. We had a gorgeous little log cabin. Oh, it was just so beautiful. It was literally 5 minutes outside the city. And we spent 4 nights there, and we did the Elves Village, and we did snowmobiling. And then we did 2 days of skiing, which was so well set up. One thing I have to say about Finland, it is the most set up country I've been to, apart from Spain maybe, for families.
Oh.
It is so family friendly. Everywhere you go, every restaurant has a microwave in it, so you can heat up your kids' food or baby food or whatever, bottles with all that. It is so family friendly, and they're lovely people to Finnish. They're so nice. So we did 2 days of skiing there, and we were on the kids were on the nursery slopes with Bobby. They took, Jesus, the crack they had. Like, they just get up on skis, and there they are, going down a mountain.
Yeah.
Like, my
Kids are-
10-year-old was passing me out. I've been skiing for 25 years.
Wow.
She's passing me out. She'd never had a set of skis on her an hour previous. I was
And did
like,
they get lessons?
no, we
Oh.
got lessons when we went to Rovaniemi
Okay.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
So we did, they did an hour lesson. They didn't really actually need the lesson, to be honest. They're just going up and down the nursery slopes. But it sold us on a ski holiday. And if they were to go on a ski holiday, I'd put them in ski school.
Yes.
So we did that anyway and loved it. And yeah, Levy is lovely. It's very nice. And then it was time to leave and go down to Rovaniemi for the final 4 nights, where we stayed in Unisvara in our lovely little cabin
Yeah.
in the woods. And we did loads of things. So we'd been there for the week before, so we knew what we wanted to do again this time.
Yeah.
And there was things that we didn't want to do again.
Okay.
So what we did again this time was the Husky Rides, Snowman World, and Kota Tieva, which is like a winter park. And we did ice skating in the forest and all that. It's absolutely beautiful. The one thing we didn't really were pushed on doing again was the reindeer ride. It just
Okay.
felt very long the last time, and we got really, really cold on it because
Okay.
it's quite slow.
Yes.
Husky rides are fast
Yeah.
and thrilling, and you do 2 kilometers and it's done in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was our itinerary for those who are asking that question. Another question then is the driving. And this is always like one of my pet peeves on holidays, or when we talk about holidays, is people's fear of driving abroad and the blockage that they put in. And like the amount of people that have said to me, oh, yeah, I just don't know if we'd rent a car over there. My husband is afraid to drive in the snow. And I'm like, why don't you drive in the snow? Why does it have to be your husband? So we were both I drove for the first time over there this year, and it's absolutely fine. Like, the roads are gritted. They're absolutely clear of snow. The tires, the winter tires on it's you're not driving fast over there like people drive over here. Everybody drives at a slower pace.
Okay.
So it's absolutely grand. We've done it twice now, so I highly recommend renting a car when you're over there, because it's just so much easier to get back and forth, out and about. Kids are young. You don't be relying on taxis and transfers and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So,
what was the name of the car company you used again?
Insider Car.
Yeah, that seems great. Yeah,
They were really good, because if you do have any questions or any qualms, or you're not picking up from a car hire company in the airport, you're not queuing for it, they meet you outside at arrivals.
Brilliant.
They go through any questions that you have and they explain everything to you. The cars are brand new. We had a lovely estate car, and we needed an estate because we were going skiing and we had to be able to fit our skis and stuff in it. So highly recommend them. Another, like, a lot of people ask this question is it celiac friendly?
Oh, I get that all the time for different places.
It is the most, it's more celiac friendly than Ireland.
What?
So, and if you actually Google it, it'll come up as one of the most celiac friendly countries in the world.
Great.
They are, and everybody speaks English there, by the way. Anybody in Scandinavia will speak English because they learn it in school from the minute they start. So most people speak fluent or very good English. So, like, sometimes I feel weird just going up and talking to English people, like in English to people there. But because I know they can speak the language back to me, I don't even attempt to speak in a, like, slow accent.
Yeah. How was your Finnish? I'd love to hear you try and speak Finnish.
Oh, I should. You know, I worked with a lot of Finns for a long time. I should have a couple of fuckle of Finnish. But yeah, it is extremely, extremely celiac friendly. Another question people asked me when to start booking and where to start. Where do you start?
Yes.
Okay, I have to recommend Cherry Stone's page on Facebook.
Karina's brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, it's Lapland on a budget.
Yes.
Is the name of the page.
She's kicked off all this, actually, to be fair to her.
Exactly.
Yeah,
she's like the OG of people in Ireland going and doing DIY trips to Lapland. That is where you'll get loads of knowledge and information. So I highly recommend joining that Facebook group to get the information of what you want to do and read other people's experiences. So that's a great place to start in starting planning your journey. Or also visiting my page. Aoife.birmingham.ie on Instagram, and your page as well. So that's a great one to do. But I would say, if you want to start doing it and planning it, book your accommodation first. But the one tip I would give you is book your accommodation based on the days of the Ryanair flights.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so if Ryanair fly on a Wednesday to a Saturday and you want to do 4 days, book your accommodation from the Wednesday to the Saturday.
Has the winter schedule been released yet? Probably not.
I don't know if it's been. I think it has. A few people have said to me, should I book? Because actually somebody messaged me and goes, I want to go March next year. Should I book my flights now? I don't think you should be booking your flights now. I think you're mad booking flights now. They're not going to sell out, and they're going to drop dramatically 6 weeks before you fly.
Yeah,
take the chance, because you'll be raging if you're sitting next to somebody who you've paid $2,000. Say if it's a family of 4 and you've paid $2,000 or $1,500 for flights for 4 people, and the person next to you paid
300.
Because that's what we did. We booked our accommodation first, and we went the first year, and our flights for the 5 of us with luggage cost €606
with Ryanair Direct.
With Ryanair Direct.
And
so that was like
did you book?
€116 each or something it was.
Amazing.
We went in the January.
Yeah.
And I booked them in the November.
Yeah, okay.
I was watching the flights, and they do drop.
Yeah.
Don't be scared if they don't. They will drop.
Great.
Okay? So that's my tip, is your accommodation first, then your flights, and everything else will, like, I would say book a couple of excursions, but keep snow days. Snow days are so important.
What do you mean by snow days?
So have a day where you don't have activities planned.
Yeah.
Keep a day for that. And just go sledding with the kids and let them play in the snow and let them have the fun, because that's where the magic is.
Yeah.
The fun in Lapland is the free stuff, the free fun. Like, you know, there's loads of hints and tips on my Instagram page that you'll see on the highlights, telling you where to go and what to do, and just enjoy the sledding, because you're just going to be a big kid with them as well.
Yeah.
It's just
Be
so
present.
magic.
Yeah.
Like, the memories that you make.
And what if you rocked up and you had nothing booked? Is there availability, especially
Look,
January?
it depends on when you're going. Yeah, in January there is.
Yeah.
January, February. March is as busy as December over there,
Why?
because that's when all the Scandinavians go skiing.
Okay.
right? Because there's longer daylight and the temperatures are better. You have about 16 hours of daylight.
Okay. Okay.
So that's my tips.
But can I ask you, price-wise then, so
I did
roughly
write down roughly. So we went for 10 days.
10 days.
10
now that
days,
is a
right?
generous amount of time.
And
So
for our flights, accommodation, train, car hire was €3,300.
wow, that's very
Okay.
good. Yeah.
And luggage. So that was, divide that by 5 people.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, what's the age that I should take, the minimum age I should
Yeah.
take children? I would say minimum 4.5,
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
They just get
They
too
need to be
cold.
very
and
mobile,
They
yeah.
do need to be. Look, I'm not saying you can't, but just be wary of the amount of breaks that you need to take and the overwhelmingness
Mm-hmm.
that it is for younger kids in the cold and all the stuff that you
Yeah,
could be doing.
yeah.
Because it is an active holiday,
Yeah.
but there's lots of things that you
There
can
is. And it was quite cold as well, wasn't it? I mean, you had minus
do. The 2
26,
days we were
27.
skiing were the
Yeah.
coldest days, so it was a bit tough in
Yeah.
having to take boots on and taking breaks and stuff like that. There was a lot of breaks, but we still had a great time.
Yeah.
And it
Brilliant.
was just magic, and I wish I could be back there, and I can't wait to go back again.
Really? Will you do it again?
Yeah. Oh, I would do it again. I do it for shorter this time because I've done 2 long
Yeah,
stints.
yeah.
I'd love the train. I would definitely do the train
that's
again.
fantastic.
But people
That sounds
ask, what's the minimum amount of days to go? And I would say 4 nights would be the minimum.
Minimum.
I'd say do 5 if you can.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that is definitely food for thought. But as I said, I was kind of like, I've done that, and then I watched your 10 days, and I think for me, looking at you, it was the time sitting down with your cup of tea, looking out into the snow, going for your little walks, having that time with the kids.
That's my
and the-
favourite times.
It just
Forget
yeah,
about all
not
the
the commercial
activities.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, thanks for sharing all that. That was brilliant. Lots of food for thought. So that was very heavy on Lapland. So look, we're gonna wrap up this segment, and we're gonna go to the next segment of our podcast, where our lovely producer Rebecca, who has a microphone this time, is going to ask us the surprise question. Now, Rebecca, do remember my daughter is here in the
I
studio,
know, of course.
so nothing dirty.
And I always
this time,
shout
right?
things across at you both, and I forgot that I'm not audible. Aoife, that was so, I was so engrossed. But you know what I kept thinking? How much? Because this
Yeah.
is 10, 15 grand. Like, that's all I was thinking. Like,
Yes.
like, well done, Aoife. That's amazing. But you're obviously saving for months. That is incredible.
But people would pay that per person to go on a 3-night trip.
Of course.
You
And
know?
go on those trains, those
Yeah.
famous trains. So
Sorry,
I'm
one
very
thing I do
inspired.
need to say,
Yeah.
because that's just the flights
Expensive to eat.
accommodation. So activities, I would say some are less and some are more, but I would say average for each activity is €100 per person. Some could be 75, some could be 150. So it averages out at about €100 each. So I would say do 3
Per
activities
activity.
per,
Yeah,
per
okay.
person per activity.
Yeah.
And there was another thing there that was in my head. It's gone.
Sorry, another thing. And then I want to quickly say something to April.
Yeah.
10 days too long?
I thought the 9 days. Sorry, I'm hitting my microphone here. I thought the 9 days is probably a bit too long because we've done a lot of it before.
Yeah.
But I would say a week is like
ample. Like
ample.
5-6 days a lot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And this is so incredible. I don't know anything about this.
Lapland.
Your trip, I'm
Lapland,
just stunned.
UK,
And I was
yeah.
emotional listening to it. I was like, what is she talking about? My mind is blown. I'm looking it up straight away. Right, we have a question of the week. We have a question every week that's posed to you that kind of takes you on a time travel bubble, either together or apart. This one I think is interesting, I hope. I think last week's was interesting. It was about a holiday that you regret. And why and all of that. But
Yes.
this is the most transformative holiday experience you've had. And with who? So transformative.
Oh,
You go first because you can think on the spot. I have to
don't know.
think.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's so many transformative experiences and on holidays. Is there? I suppose. Look, I'm going to go back to my lovely husband here, but I think for a lot of people, when you go on that first big trip with the boyfriend at the time or the girlfriend or whoever, I think it tells a lot about a relationship. So John and I, we did like a night here and there with friends, and we went skiing quite a lot actually when we lived in New York up to Killington. And I had mentioned in the very first episode that we'd been saving for a big trip. We did San Francisco, LA, Vegas, and we spent probably 2.5 weeks doing that. And that was a long time together. That was the longest we'd spent. Like, we didn't live together at the time. We saw each other 3 times a week. It was very romantic and cute. And yeah, we spent 2.5 weeks together. And relationships, when you go on holiday, it can be very much a make or break, because you're with them for that length of time. You're abroad. They see you when you're cranky because you're jet lagged.
Yeah.
They see the warts and all. And I have to say, we got on so well. And actually, when you're going about your day and you're busy and you're young and you're dating, you're having fun, you're going out, you're partying. But that holiday, you've lots of time for conversations. Not necessarily conversations about the future. No doubt I was probably trying to get him to see, how many children do you want in the future and where do you think we live and all this. And he was having none of that, of course. But no doubt I tried those conversations.
Take a shot of tequila.
Yeah. Let's get drunk. But it really made me fall head over heels in love with him.
Aww.
And I think, and it was, I don't know how many, we might have been together a year at that stage, but I do think that it solidified for me that he was the one, I guess. And like that, look, I've been on lots of different holidays. Well, I've been in a few different holidays with a few different boyfriends back in the day, but this was lovely. It was mature, and I just knew that he was going to be a great dad, and he was going to be, he was just a good guy. And I think spending that time, uninterrupted time, also having loads of fun, I knew that there was a future for us. I don't know if he totally agreed with this or not, possibly not. But for me, I suppose that was transformative in terms of my opinion and my relationship. So that's what popped to my mind when you asked that question, Rebecca. Shall we move over
so
to
different to my
Okay,
experience.
and I love this.
I love the way that you're saying no. I wonder if John feels the same. Like, remember me and the New Orleans trip? Sure, I was like, this is the man I'm going to marry, and he was about to dump me.
Yes, I love it. It's so
anyway,
different. Yeah.
my transformative trip would have to be. So myself and my cousin were doing our year traveling around the world, and we were living in Australia, and I just decided it wasn't for me. I wanted to leave Australia.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're like me. We love the All Americas.
Yeah,
I'm
I actually moved straight from Australia to San Francisco, but because I was going that route, I was like, I'm going to go off. Like, my cousin had all her friends. I didn't just leave her in Australia. Her friends from home had all arrived out.
Yeah.
So she had her pals with her, and I felt like this is the time for me to go and move on now.
Oh, wow.
Which is a big decision because I was going on my own. Now my friends were all in San Francisco, so I was just going from friend to friend. But I decided to do some traveling around New Zealand and Fiji, but on my own.
Oh, wow. I didn't know this.
So I did 10 days in New Zealand and a week in Fiji by myself. And it was very nerve-wracking. I was, we went together, me and my cousin, just 2 weeks apart from us. We actually call each other Siamese twins.
Ah.
So it was very sad to leave each other on this experience that we'd had.
Yes.
And separate and go our separate ways. And so I went to New Zealand on my own. And it was just the experience, it really shaped the rest of my life because I did it on my own. And it made me realize that I can do anything I want on my own.
Good.
I don't need somebody else. Obviously, It's nice to have a companion.
Yeah.
But I made friends there. I wasn't going around the streets on my own. I joined group tours. I stayed in hostels, which might sound weird to some people, but they're a great place to meet somebody.
Of course. That's what all the young kids do.
And I met loads of people traveling, and I had friends in Auckland as well. So I got to meet up with them. And then I went off to Fiji. And it was just such an amazing experience. I really felt like, God, I can take on the world. If I can travel New Zealand and Fiji on my own, I can do anything.
And again, what age were you?
I was 21.
Wow, that's young. Yeah,
21.
Amazing.
At the time, I was like, I'm so old. I'm 21. But really, you're a baby. You are. And you're at the other side of the world. And it was nerve-wracking for my parents and my grandparents as well. What's she doing leaving and going,
Yeah. And can I ask, why did you not like Australia?
I just wasn't
Too
mad
slow
on
pace?
Sydney. No, I felt like Sydney was trying too hard to be New Zealand. Or not New Zealand, sorry, New York.
Okay.
I love Sydney. I'd go back.
Yeah.
Just didn't like living there.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have, I spent all my funds on, I couldn't go. Look, I'm not a backpacker.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the idea of going backpacking up the coast.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to come back here in 20, 30 years and do it
Yeah. Fancy
a bit
hotels.
fancier.
Limousines. Chauffeurs. Yeah.
Now, saying that, I did go to New Zealand and stay in hostels and all that, but it was fun. I absolutely loved it. And it really opened up my mind to being more adventurous and just being solo and not having to rely on other people and going off and doing what I want when I want in my own time. And I'm still that way.
Yeah.
I will go off on my own and do things.
Yeah.
I don't need other people to help me make my
joy, bring you joy and fun and all of that.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
Well, that was really good. Thanks for that. Those questions. I think that was a nice one, and you never know what's going to come out of our mouths.
You never
but,
know. Yeah.
You definitely get us thinking, Rebecca. So listen, Aoife, thanks a million for that. I think we had great chats there about Lapland. I hope that we have given the listeners some food for thought. I know not everyone is interested in going to Lapland or can afford to go to Lapland. Lapland UK, of course, is also an option. And that is it. I know we're still talking about Christmas and it's February, but we will park this. And episode 4, what are we going to be talking about in
Episode 5.
episode
This is
5?
episode
This
4.
is episode 4. My gosh, episode 5. What are we going to be talking about episode 5, Aoife?
You remind me.
I will remind you because she's forgotten already.
That
We
is
are going to be talking about trips to take for the big birthdays.
yes,
you know,
yes.
Both of us have a big birthday coming up in a few years. You know, I'm 47. So are you? Are you 47?
I'll be 47 in July.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
July. Okay. So we have something. I'm planning. I don't know, but
Yep.
I'm planning already
Yep.
my 50th. Lots of fun during the 40th, and not only just big birthdays, but anniversaries or special occasions, or maybe you got a bit of money and you want to do something special. So that's what episode 5 is going to be about. We're going to chat about different options for celebratory trips. So please tune in. Please share this with anyone at all that you think might like to travel and might like to listen in. And you can find us on any of the platforms you get your podcast.
And also, if you really, really enjoyed the podcast, we would love for you to rate the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can. Please give us a 5-star rating because it really helps us push our numbers up in the listener.
That's it. Yeah,
World.
in the listener world. Okay, folks, thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye.